In 1990, the wave of energy in defense of the valley that had crested the previous decade was long since spent. There were lots of individuals in Hamilton who were against the expressway, but the project seemed inexorably to be moving forward, and there was no organized group working on the issue. But a legacy of the earlier wave of struggle was a pro-valley position taken by the NDP, and when the NDP won all 6 local seats at the provincial level in the 1990 election, and also won power in the province for the first time ever, one of its early acts was to remove provincial funding for the expressway. Jane Mulkewich worked as a constituency assistant for one of the local NDP MPPs, and she talks about how she saw the expressway issue play out from that vantage at the beginning of the 1990s.
But this was a government that, when it was elected, there was so much backlash, or I don't know if that's the right word, but there was a lot of vitriol from people that were very unhappy with the fact that the first ever NDP government in Ontario had been elected. And so we used to say, as I said, I was a new mother at the time, and there was a new MPP and a new government, but it wasn't just a new government, it was a new NDP government that was getting all of this barrage of often hate mail and really nasty kind of sentiments from people. So we used to say it's not like life in the fast lane, it was like life in the oncoming lane, was an expression we had, because we had a lot of complaints about various things we were doing. And so one of the first big issues, because it happened very early on after the election, was the Red Hill Valley, when the funding was withdrawn. So that was the first time we started getting all these angry comments from people who wanted the expressway and were basically accusing the NDP of destroying the future economy of Hamilton and so on. And it's one of the reasons, I make a point of saying that it's not that the NDP was against roads, it was just the road in the Red Hill Valley, because they went ahead and funded the link across the top of the city.
So as a constituency assistant, what do you remember about the kinds of events that you were part of, that you helped organize or attended, that were related to the valley?
Well, what I do remember is that the local MPPs would have a budget to send out, what's called a householder. So something that goes out to every household in the riding that explains current issues and so on. And over Red Hill, because it was such a big issue in Hamilton, and because all of the 6 ridings were held by New Democrats, the 6 MPPs got together and pooled their resources for their householders and did one big spread together. So there was one of us staff from each of the 6 offices that got together to design that. So that's the specific piece that I remember, and there was probably other things going on too, just in terms of each of the 6 of them were probably involved in different speaking engagements, or just as they went about their activities in the riding. But I do remember getting involved with all of the other 5 other staff from the other area offices and designing basically I remember it was a big spread kind of thing, like you open it up and it's a big spread. It would have a map or a picture of the valley and some other facts and so on. It's funny, I don't have a copy of it anymore. I don't know if anyone does, or if it's still around, but we designed quite a big spread that would have gone out to basically every household in Hamilton Wentworth would have got one, because we covered all those ridings.
And were there like town hall meetings and so on that you were involved with?
No, it wasn't town hall meetings, but it would have been, as I said, just the general kinds of activities that the MPPs would have had. I worked for the MPP here in Dundas, Ancaster, Flamborough, and he would have had constituents coming to his office and having meetings that I would be involved in scheduling those meetings or attending those meetings, follow up, writing letters, people who wrote letters in concerns and replying to those letters. So there was a lot of correspondence with constituents, meetings with constituents, but I don't recall any town hall meetings in an organized way.
What kinds of things were you hearing from the community around the valley and the expressway?
So the people for the expressway were very concerned about the economy and liked to paint the NDP as sort of tree huggers that didn't care about economic prosperity and how are people going to get to the urban growth areas. What was the name? Like the industrial park or commercial park that was designed or was going to be built around the Red Hill. So we were getting a lot of calls, ranged from concern to outright vitriol about what a stupid decision it was to withdraw funding. And I imagine, those are the responses that were the most impactful that I recall. But I imagine we would have got some sentiments of support as well. I mean, certainly the electorate who had elected the NDP, by and large, or at least the NDP sort of supporters that were environmentalists who were concerned about the valley. So I think there was also obviously some support for the position.